What is happening in Ukraine and why should we care? The world is asking. The conflict in Ukraine is not merely a regional issue confined within its borders. It's a global matter affecting nations far beyond Eastern Europe. This conflict, which involves major world powers, has brought to the fore a plethora of geopolitical challenges, economic repercussions, and humanitarian crises. At the heart of the conflict is Ukraine's struggle for autonomy and territorial integrity, caught between the ambitions of Russia on one side and the support of Western nations on the other. Amidst the sound of gunfire and the smoke of battlefields, the world has witnessed dramatic turns of events, from failed missile tests to sudden suspensions of nuclear arms reduction treaties. As the situation continues to evolve, understanding the nuances of this conflict becomes all the more crucial. It has implications for global security, diplomatic relations, and the very sanctity of international law. From sanctions imposed on Russian leaders to the role of China as a potential mediator, every development adds a new layer to this complex narrative. In the next few minutes, we're going to take a journey through the timeline of this conflict, highlighting key events and turning points. The timeline of the Ukraine war is a series of escalating events, each one adding fuel to a fire that is yet to be extinguished. Beginning with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the conflict has been marked by a series of major battles, diplomatic efforts, and international reactions. The war started with Russia's aggressive move into Ukrainian territory. The world watched in disbelief as international boundaries were violated and sovereign nations' rights were disregarded. The invasion was met with immediate condemnation from the global community, and the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, and Canada swiftly imposed economic sanctions on Russia. These sanctions targeted key figures in the Russian government, including President Vladimir Putin and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The sanctions were a significant escalation in the international response, marking the first time that a sitting Russian president was personally sanctioned. In the midst of the conflict, diplomatic efforts were also underway. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson advocated for providing military aid to Ukraine, arguing that it would enhance Western security and help Ukraine win the war against Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, on the other hand, was counting on international support to end the war, expressing hope for a ceasefire and lasting peace. The war also saw a display of power from Russia as it conducted a test of an intercontinental ballistic missile. The test, which appeared to have failed, was conducted around the time that US President Joe Biden was visiting Ukraine. This move by Russia was seen as a bold statement, but it did not escalate the situation further. China, another global superpower, expressed its concerns about the conflict spiraling out of control. Meeting with Russia's Security Council, China's top diplomat Wang Yi agreed to oppose the Cold War mentality and strengthen multilateral cooperation to improve global governance. But the Chinese stance remained neutral, neither condemning Russia nor explicitly supporting Ukraine. The war in Ukraine has seen its share of victories and losses on both sides. Some close to President Zelensky believe that more Ukrainian victories on the battlefield are necessary for real peace talks to begin. Ukraine, they argue, needs more military assistance to end the war. The timeline of this war is marked by a series of diplomatic maneuvers, international reactions, and on-the-ground battles. The war has seen the global community come together in an effort to impose economic penalties on Russia and support Ukraine. As the situation continues to evolve, the world watches, hopes, and waits for a resolution. In this global chess game, superpowers have taken their positions, each influencing the course of the war in their own way. At the forefront of this conflict, we find Russia, the United States, and China, each with their own interests and methods of influence. Russia, under the leadership of President Vladimir Putin, has taken a direct approach with military involvement in Ukraine. However, this decision has not come without global pushback. The suspension of Russia's participation in the New START nuclear arms reduction treaty with the US has sparked concern, with nations like the United Kingdom urging a reconsideration. The world watches, understanding that this move could jeopardize global security for political gain. Across the ocean, the United States, led by President Joe Biden, has chosen a path of economic penalties against Russia, including sanctions targeting Putin himself. Despite the geopolitical tension, the U.S. has remained committed to supporting Ukraine's right to self-determination. This commitment has been demonstrated through the provision of military aid, including tanks, planes, and artillery, in a bid to enhance Western security. Meanwhile, China, under the diplomatic guidance of Wang Yi, seeks to balance its position between East and West. China has expressed concern about the conflict spiraling out of control and has shown willingness to work with other countries for a ceasefire and lasting peace in Ukraine. However, China's impartiality has been questioned, with a closer relationship with Russia being observed over the past year. Each of these superpowers holds a piece on the chessboard, influencing the game with every move. Yet the cost of these decisions is not only measured in economic or political terms, but also in human lives. While these nations navigate the treacherous waters of global politics, the people of Ukraine continue to bear the brunt of this conflict. These global superpowers hold the power to change the course of the war, but at what cost? With every war, there are casualties. The impact of the Ukraine war extends beyond the borders of the country. It's not just about the loss of life, the destruction of infrastructure, or the displacement of people. It's about the reverberations felt around the world. The humanitarian crisis caused by this war is profound. Millions have been displaced, forced to leave their homes and lives behind. Families are torn apart, communities shattered, food and medicine are in short supply, and the suffering is immense. The economic impact is also far-reaching. Sanctions imposed on Russia have ripple effects on global markets. Businesses, both in and outside of Ukraine, are struggling as supply chains are disrupted. And let's not forget the burden on nations who are generously hosting refugees, stretching their resources to the limit. The geopolitical implications are equally significant. The war has exposed fractures in international relations, challenging alliances and causing concern across the globe. It's a test of resolve for global superpowers as they navigate the delicate balance of diplomacy, aid, and military support. As we continue to watch the events unfold, the question remains, what will it take to end this conflict? So, we've journeyed through the timeline of the Ukraine war, examined the roles of global superpowers, and witnessed its impact. We began by understanding the conflict's origin and the key events that have unfolded since its inception. This timeline has revealed the war's complexity, with shifting alliances, fluctuating battle lines, and an array of international influences all playing their part. We then delved into the role of global superpowers such as the United States, Russia, and China, and how their actions and policies have shaped the course of the war. We saw how the United States has imposed sweeping sanctions on Russia, including asset freezes, debt and equity restrictions, and technology access limitations. We also explored China's complex stance, expressing a willingness to work towards a ceasefire and lasting peace in Ukraine, yet strengthening its support for Moscow over the past year. The impact of the war was our next focus, looking at the toll it has taken on Ukraine and the wider world. It's clear that the effects of this conflict reach far beyond the battlefield, affecting international relations, economies, and the lives of millions of innocent people. This exploration of the Ukraine war has underlined the importance of understanding the situation and its global implications. The war is not just a regional conflict, but one that resonates on a global scale, affecting international diplomacy, economic stability, and the delicate balance of power among nations. As we conclude, it's vital to remember that the Ukraine war is a stark reminder of the complexities of global politics. It underscores the fact that in the game of war, the strategies of nations and the decisions of leaders have profound consequences. Yet it's the common people, the ordinary citizens of Ukraine and beyond, who often bear the brunt of these decisions and pay the highest price. The Ukraine war is a testament to the complexities of global politics and a reminder that in the game of war, it's the common people who pay the highest price.